So it's finally happened. All Elite Wrestling has released their first ever video game called AEW Fight Forever. My review that I'm doing right now is very late. It is the 6th of July as I'm recording this. About to be the 7th in about 15 minutes, but yes, I do apologize. I've been wanting to do this review for a couple weeks. A big thank you, by the way, to THQ Nordic for sending over a key for the game. I had the game about a week early, but thank you so much for passing by. Bert here wants to remind you that I'm almost so close to 1,000 subscribers here on YouTube, so you can do me a favor really quickly before we get the review started. Make sure you like the video and drop a subscription as we are 150 away. So let's get right into it here. I was sent the game, as I mentioned, a week early for PC/Steam of AEW Fight Forever. And I've had some time with it, had some time with Road to Elite, and of course playing through most, if not all, of the match types. So let's get the first thing out of the way here straight and just thrown out there right away. This game is not going to have the cutting edge graphics of the WWE 2K games, but you know what? That's okay. We've all have been learning from recent years that graphics do not always make a game. So with that being said, the game is still very good looking. You can tell the wrestlers, be like, yeah, that's Bryan Danielson. You can look at Jon Moxley in the game and be like, yeah, that's totally Jon Moxley. It looks like them. Isn't going to be as realistic as the WWE 2K games, but the game looks just fine, okay? So right away, let's get that out of the way also. Additionally, the controls of the game are some of the placement of the controls are a little weird. If you're using an Xbox controller, the B button or circle on PlayStation is the button to run. Not the one I probably would have chosen. I would have chosen like one of the right triggers or the left triggers for running. So when you get the face buttons such as X, triangle, and square being things like grapple and strike, to have circle be run, it's a little weird. I wouldn't have chose that again, but you do get used to it. Also, Irish flipping an opponent is with the right trigger or even circle as well. Like I mentioned, some really weird choices with the controls, but you get used to it. You get used to it. Left button is the one that does the pinning and everything. You can also, if you played No Mercy, you know that you can hold down the A or X button to do a strong grapple, or just push down for light grapple to do moves, and then a directional button with that as well. It does control a lot like No Mercy, so if you have experience playing No Mercy, you'll know exactly how the game is going to play like. And even doing your specials is the same way too. Once you get that little meter all the way up to red, it starts to kind of pulsate. You can actually move the directional pad in any direction, and it does their signature move. Now, unlike No Mercy games of the past, there wasn't a signature move, it was just their finisher. And then once you can do that, you just flick the right analog, and then it activates their finisher. Doing their finishers is the same way. Also grapple them, and then use tilt the right stick in any direction to do a finisher. The game feels great. There is a bit of issues with the detection of moves, such as like when I'm running towards an opponent and they do a grapple move, which would do some kind of like power slam or something on me, but sometimes I end up hitting them and vice versa. There's some bugs with other types of detection and collision, especially if you have an object like a table or a ladder on the ground, you try to walk over it, you get blocked, which is a little weird. Not that, of course, I can't walk over a ladder in the real world, but you almost can't go anywhere. It's a little wonky in that way. It doesn't go around it. I've found myself getting stuck a few times by objects like that on the ground, but overall, the game is really fun. It is a very bloody mess. You can be cut up by exploding barbed wire, or the thumbtacks is also really great too. You can throw the thumbtacks on the ground and then do a move over it, and you can see the impact of their bodies on it. They react in a really realistic way. Red sparks come up from the ground to kind of show that they're being affected by the thumbtacks. And then the blood will get everywhere on the ground, on the map. It's really, really great. Of course, I'm sure you've all seen footage that the stages at the top can be kind of broken through. The game is super fun, has a really great hardcore feel to those days of the No Mercy games, because the WWE games, as great as they are, they don't have as much of the blood factor as AEW does. The ladder match is also an interesting match type. It's almost too easy when you put the ladder and you climb for the poker chips. So that's what you get from the ladder match. It isn't like a briefcase or even like a belt. It's a poker chip that I've noticed. And once you reach for it, you can push one of the face buttons over and over and over in a quarter circle. So the first quarter is going to be like the A button. Once you mash it enough, then it will change to the X button, and then the B button, and then the Y button, or vice versa. The order is always going to be different, but that's how it goes. Keep mashing it until it goes to the next one. It's actually pretty easy. I've only played about 2 ladder matches, and I've won every one without any issues. I think I won one of them in like under 3 minutes, maybe even. So the ladder match might be too easy, although I do appreciate the simplistic nature of the mini game type to get the poker chip down. Road to Elite is something that I've still been going through. I was playing it on my Twitch stream recently. I do stream on TikTok and Twitch, so follow both of those. They should be down in the description below as well. But it's the Road to Elite is definitely very interesting too. It's very fun for a first game to have a mode like this is actually very nice. You have 4 weeks between, you have 4 turns between dynamites where you can do things like recharging your mental battery by going sightseeing or by eating. You can work out to get points to level up if you're doing a creative wrestler. And then you have your match. And in the context of the match, when you're playing through, you might get injured, which is, of course, something that happens to any professional wrestler. So it is very cool to see that. And then there are matches you do which have a story. There's cutscenes that happen, and someone might be your friend. They might turn on you. Then you have like some kind of big pay-per-view match at either events like Full Gear, All Out. So all those pay-per-views are in the Road to Elite mode. It can get a little repetitive because you're just doing the same rinse repeat week by week by week by week up to the pay-per-view, and then it tends to just kind of go on to the next branching storyline. So while it is fun, I do notice getting a little repetitive. I haven't finished the mode yet, but so far it is really great. There's a jukebox which you can also play music in, so that while you're doing the matches, like the exhibition matches, you can just have a playlist of music. And unless I'm mistaken, I believe the Kingdom Cody Rhodes song was having an issue for jukebox in the WWE games. It seems to be working just fine in AEW Fight Forever. So that's an interesting aspect I just wanted to point out too, is that it seems that there's no problem using Kingdom in jukebox from what I've seen. That's very interesting considering that it was having issues on WWE 2K23. So what do I think about AEW Fight Forever as a whole? For a very first video game from a company that's 4 years old, it's a good first game. It is a really, really good first outing for a video game. A lot of interesting match types. The core roster is small, but of course, to be fair, also, the AEW roster is definitely bloated. And I love AEW, but let's be honest here, okay? That roster is definitely big, maybe a bit bloated, okay? But it does have a lot of core wrestlers, but there's a lot of people missing. The Acclaimed aren't in it. Keith Lee's going to be DLC. Members of the Blackpool Combat Club aren't in it. You know, I can think of Claudio's not in it. Yuta's not in it. There's definitely a lot of missing people, but they got a good core roster down. Let's put it that way. The match types are somewhat limited, but they're very fun still for what's in there. You got the Casino Battle Royale, you have the ladder match, the exploding barbed wire is very fun. Lights Out is great to use the thumbtacks. So that's what I keep just thinking, is that for a first game, it's good. Is there room for improvement? Absolutely. But for a very first video game, still very fun, very good. I don't know if I would recommend it at full price though, unless you're a diehard AEW fan and video game wrestling fan. And even then, it's still hard to recommend full price. I don't know if I can. But for a score, I'll give it a good solid 7.8 out of 10. Is it fun? Absolutely. Again, could have used some more content, maybe in a sequel also. Definitely. So that's all I got to say about the game. Again, I don't want this to dissuade you from purchasing the game if you are thinking about it. If you're going to think about it, and if you have the funds to do it, the disposable funds, go for it. I promise you're gonna love it, but it is hard to overall recommend it at this moment at full price. So once again, make sure to subscribe down below, hit that like button, and I will hope to see you in future videos. I do upload here to YouTube 3 times a week, typically Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, as I'll be doing more of the 2K showcases for WWE games as well. But I just want to give a big thank you again to Evolve Terminals on behalf of AEW Games and THQ Nordic for sending me a key for AEW Fight Forever. Hope to see you in the next video. Have a good day, good night, wherever you are. Take care, and I will see you next time. Peace.